Part 8. Ancestral, Alchemy, and Affirmations. Reprogramming the Unconscious. Chapter 24. Formulas from our wise forefathers. To reach our true potential, we must purge our mind of negative indoctrination and supplant it with psychological and spiritual nourishment. Remember, alcoholism is a mindset, a maladaptive set of beliefs, the answer to which is a profound shift in consciousness. Sobriety is contingent on replenishing and evolving our mind on a daily basis. This chapter contains a collection of writings from some of the greatest thinkers who have ever graced our planet. Absorbing the wisdom and inspiration herein will induce a contemporary way of thinking based on ancient teachings. Sir Isaac Newton once said the following: "If I have seen a little further, it is by standing on the shoulders of the giants who have come before me." By digesting and integrating the wisdom in this chapter, you too can expand your vision by standing on the shoulders of the inspirational giants who have come before you. Remember, words are the software that reprogram your mind. Let the teachings of these masters permeate your unconscious and produce a profound shift in your thinking. Tao Te Ching, verse 36. The Tao Te Ching is a collection of 81 verses that provide the basic philosophy for the school of Taoism, an important pillar of Chinese thought. Written by Chinese sage Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching is designed to change your life by radically transforming the way you think. Literally translated, it means Tao, the way, Te, strength and virtue, Ching, scripture. I have chosen verse 36 to contemplate, as it offers wise counsel on processing our issues and avoiding the accumulation of the unconscious debris that pollutes our mind. Should you want to contain something, you must deliberately let it expand. Should you want to weaken something, you must deliberately let it grow strong. Should you want to restrain something, you must deliberately allow it to flourish. Should you want to take something away, you must deliberately grant it access. The lesson here is called wisdom in obscurity. The gentle outlasts the strong. The obscure outlasts the obvious. Lao Tzu, 6th century BC. This verse imparts an invaluable lesson. Do not suppress or repress. Express. When in the grips of alcoholism, we used drink as a means of suppressing unresolved issues. Even in sobriety, many people continue this pattern, camouflaging their troublesome issues to keep up appearances. Without realizing it, they are creating a monster. Suppressed emotions must find expression, and they do so in a multitude of negative ways. Psychosis, neurosis, phobias, mood swings, fears, and so on. Suppression and repression impede our natural flow of emotive force and asphyxiate life. Rather than diminish problematic issues, they exacerbate them. Many people claim strength by hiding their mental and emotional debris from public view. But this sham serves only to inflate their ego. Their stature is built on shaky foundations. Beneath the surface, pressure is building and cracks are appearing. If they don't release the pressure soon, the inevitable explosion will cause chaos. Verse 36 urges us to reevaluate these tactics. It encourages us to turn our strategies upside down and practice opposites. By informing us that the gentle outlasts the strong and the obscure outlasts the obvious, Lao Tzu urges us to express our emotions. Paradoxically, hiding unresolved issues increases their power and longevity. Like a pan of water on low heat, they simmer away in the background, breeding unease and discontentment. As the flotsam of the past gradually pollutes the shores of the present, we find ourselves becoming increasingly irritable, restless, and nervous. Conversely, when we invite our past issues into consciousness, we remove their source of heat and quickly extinguish them. Conscious issues can be processed and released, freeing up vital energy for other activities. Next time you experience an issue that gives rise to emotional discomfort, put the Tao Te Ching to test. Rather than banish it to the realms of your unconscious, deliberately let it permeate your mind. Refrain from judgment. Simply observe it and notice how quickly your discomfort subsides. The dualistic nature of life. Man was made for joy and woe, and when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul to bind. William Blake. Accepting the polarized nature of life is essential if we want to attain peace, as up cannot exist without down, and hot cannot exist without cold. So joy cannot exist without sorrow, and peace without conflict. Each polarity gives rise to its opposite. Our culture, however, teaches us to deny negative experience and pretend all is well, a practice that saps energy and leads to neurosis. Man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. Carl Gustav Jung. In essence, negative and positive energy are the same thing in different guises. They both provide fuel to propel us towards our desired future, as the following story relays. The Archer. An archer and his young son went deep into the forest. On reaching the center, the archer took out his bow and retrieved an arrow from his pouch. As he steadied himself and took aim at a tree trunk in the distance, his young son looked puzzled and asked why he was drawing the arrow backwards when the target was in front of him. The archer promptly replied, "It is the drawback that gives the arrow the power and momentum to shoot forward with great speed and reach its target." The moral of this story is plainly obvious. The inevitable drawbacks in life are a valuable source of power. Each one has the potential to motivate us, changing our perception of negative experience and realizing that every drawback is a golden opportunity to progress is at the heart of alchemy. Transformation is often born of crisis because the potential energy contained in the drawback is sufficiently powerful to propel us forward towards our goals. In reality, there is no such thing as negative experience, just challenges that provide opportunities to evolve. Freedom. Freedom is a mind that's open to everything and attached to nothing. Author unknown. The following story is a true account of a very dear friend of mine. Jimmy struggled for years to break free from the clutches of alcohol. Relapse followed sobriety in cycles, until he met Julie, an attractive woman, 4 years his junior. Very quickly, she became the focal point of his life, his reason for staying sober. The first couple of years were a dream. They spent many happy hours laughing and loving. After this initial period, however, Julie decided she needed to widen her horizons. She enrolled at college and started to attend the gym with a few friends twice a week. Jimmy became paranoid. His jealousy escalated very quickly and wreaked havoc. His possessiveness and irrational behavior led to their breakup. The emotional pain was so great that Jimmy sought escape. He was found dead in the bath 2 months later with toxic levels of alcohol and barbiturates in his bloodstream. Jimmy leaves us with a legacy. If we tether our happiness to a possession, be it a person, place, or object, we become enslaved to it. What we must own comes to possess us. By clinging to objects and people as our sole source of happiness, we invite frustration, pain, and turmoil. Everything on the physical plane is transient and impermanent. Without exception, every object, including our physical bodies, is in a constant state of flux. Every material object is simply a convergence of a few elementary particles. The numerous manifestations of these particles are continuously recycling from one label and structure to another. Some atoms that comprised my body yesterday are part of your body today. The daffodil that blossoms today will decompose in a few days' time. Delicious food cooked today will become stale and toxic in a couple of days. The decaying process is irreversible. Thoughts change, emotions change, people change. Everything changes. Hankering after transitory things is fraught with uncertainty. Transient things provide transitory happiness. The situation is comparable to putting your hand in a stream and trying to grasp the water. The more you grasp, the less water you retain. However, if you immerse your open hand in the stream and refrain from grasping, you receive a never-ending supply of fresh water. Similarly, when you attain the objects of your desires, enjoy them to the full. Drive that beautiful motor car. Romance the girl of your dreams. Enjoy your new home. But do not tether your happiness to them. In doing so, you impede the natural flow of the universe. When you are not grasping and clinging, you are wide open to receive. Trust in the process of change. Release the old and welcome the new. Connecting to Source. The spiritual life does not remove us from the world, but leads us deeper into it. Spiritual practice is not designed to eclipse our humaneness. It is designed to enhance it. Transcending the physical domain and bathing in the bliss of the sacred singularity is a wise and fruitful practice. But when we take it to extremes, it can become another form of escapism. The physical domain is a valuable gift that should not be discarded. Where else can we experience the richness and diversity that our humaneness provides? Where else can we feel the passion of a lover, the warmth of a family bond, or the mental stimulation of problem solving? Remaining in a transcendental state is somewhat akin to the experience of King Midas. Everything King Midas touched turned to gold. Therefore, he could never experience the joy of a warm embrace or a tender kiss. He equated success and happiness with wealth, and in the process sold the treasure of his humanity. Likewise, if we aspire to remain in a state of transcendence, we sell the treasure of our humanity. We are not here to deny our humaneness. We are here to refine it and bring it into alignment with our spiritual essence. As we experience the transitory nature of life and embrace the rich experience that the temporary states of joy and sorrow bring, we slowly become aware of an unchanging truth: the permanence of our indwelling divinity. This aspect of our being is not intended to shepherd us away from life. Conversely, it enables us to embrace life to the full, to reach our true potential, and make an impact on the world. We must be connected to Source. Our higher self is the gateway. The room I'm writing in at present has a lamp, a television, a DVD player, a fish tank, and a coffee percolator. Each object has a different appearance and performs a different function, but they all have the same source of power: electricity. When disconnected from their power source, the appliances are rendered useless. Likewise, you and I may have a different appearance and different roles in life, but we are both expressions of one unified field of intelligence. When we become fixated with the mental construction of who we think we are, our ego, we inadvertently disconnect ourselves from our power source. A light bulb, television set, or coffee percolator cannot carry out their purpose when disconnected from the electricity supply. As we cannot fulfill our purpose when disconnected from our source. When a drop is separated from the ocean, it wields little power. But when reunited with the vastness of its source, it becomes invincible. To embrace your true potential, allow the drop that is you to dissolve back into the ocean that is your source, and utilize this infallible power to evolve the collective consciousness of our planet. In the 1960s, psychologist John Bowlby formulated a theory that emphasized the importance of a secure relationship with our primary caregiver in infancy. This theory can be adapted to reflect the importance of our connection to the universal intelligence. According to attachment theory, the relationship we have with our primary caregiver in infancy is crucial to our psychological development. The central theme of attachment theory is that mothers who are available and responsive to their infant's needs establish a sense of security within the child. Knowing that the caregiver is dependable, the child will happily explore the surrounding environment and use the caregiver as a secure base to which she can return when distressed. The central tenets are as follows. Safe haven. When a child feels threatened or afraid, he or she can return to the comfort of the caregiver to be soothed and reassured. Secure base. The caregiver provides a secure base from which the child can explore the world. Proximity maintenance. The child strives to remain close to the caregiver, instilling a sense of security and protection. Separation anxiety. When separated from the caregiver, the child becomes upset and distressed. Similarly, a deep, meaningful connection with our indwelling divinity is imperative to our psychological and spiritual development. Our true essence provides a secure base from which we can venture out and explore the rich diversity of life. Just as a child suffers separation anxiety when its mother is absent for a period of time, we become lost, confused, and frightened when we abandon our roots and become disconnected from our source. An intimate connection with our indwelling divinity instills confidence and assurance within us. Bathing in the light of our source replenishes and re-energizes us, preparing us to embark on our next fact-finding adventure. Enthusiasm is a sign that our spirit in control. Remember, entheos, the root of the word enthusiasm, means in spirit. As we allow life to unfold from the level of our spirit, we embrace the entire array of glorious gifts this world has to offer. My mind to me a kingdom is. My mind to me a kingdom is. Such present joys therein I find, that it excels all other bliss. That world affords or grows by kind, though much I want that most would have, yet still my mind forbids to crave. No princely pomp, no wealthy store, no force to win the victory, no wily wit to salve a sore, no shape to feed a loving eye. To none of these I yield as thrall. For why? My mind doth serve for all. I see how plenty surfeits oft, and hasty climbers soon do fall. I see that those which are aloft, mishap doth threaten most of all. They get with toil, they keep with fear. Such cares my mind could never bear. Content I live, this is my stay. I seek no more than may suffice. I press to bear no haughty sway. Look, what I lack my mind supplies. Lo, thus I triumph like a king, content with that my mind doth bring. Some have too much, yet still do crave. I have little and seek no more. They are but poor, though much they have. And I am rich with little store. They poor, I rich, they beg, I give. They lack, I leave. They pine, I leave. I laugh not at another's loss. I grudge not another's gain. No worldly waves my mind can toss. My state at one doth still remain. I fear no foe, I fawn no friend. I loathe not life, nor dread my end. Some weigh their pleasure by their lust, their wisdom by their rage of will. Their treasure is their only trust, a cloaked craft, their store of skill. But all the pleasure that I find is to maintain a quiet mind. My wealth is health and perfect ease, my conscience clear, my choice defense. I neither seek by bribes to please, nor by deceit to breed offense. Thus do I live, thus will I die. Would all did so as well as I. English poet Sir Edward Dyer, 1546 to 1907. This poem encapsulates the core essence of sobriety. Sobriety isn't simply abstinence from drink. It's equanimity of mind, balance. The mind may be seen as having three distinct components: conditioned consciousness, imagination, and pure consciousness. Conditioned consciousness. This is a domain that houses the messages we have internalized from society. It is often chaotic and confusing. Sir Edward describes the plight of those embroiled in conditioned consciousness as those infected with the disease of more. If only they had more money, more clothes, more holidays, more jewelry, more status, more power, more. Then and only then will they be happy. But what happens? They exert all their efforts on acquiring more, often discarding the feelings of other people along the way, only to discover that their acquisitions have changed nothing. Not only are they still discontent, but now they're terrified of losing what they've accumulated. Remember, every desire contains the seed of its opposite. Along with amassing more of what they thought they needed, they inadvertently acquired more worry, more anxiety, and more stress, which often leads to the onset of ill health. Every desire contains the seed of its opposite. Sir Edward recognized that his health was his wealth and perfect ease. In seeking no more than may suffice, he kept his mind a crave-free zone. Lack of craving suggests he was master of his mind, and this translated into good physical health. Though poor by material standards, his life was rich because his mind was free of the need to possess objects, power, and status. They are but poor, though much they have, and I am rich with little store. They poor, I rich, they beg, I give. They lack, I leave. They pine, I live. Many people have exclaimed, "I'm finished, I've lost it all," after being relieved of certain worldly possessions. Unlike Sir Edward, they obviously hadn't considered the invaluable treasure of the invisible kingdom which dwells within them. The conditioned mind is neither good nor bad. It is how we use it that determines its effectiveness. Being home to 60,000 thoughts per day, it's a domain of infinite possibilities. Any one thought being potentially life-changing. You can choose inspiration or desperation. But the point is, you can choose. Sir Edward highlighted this point when he wrote, "Yet still my mind forbids to crave." When you crave anything, be it alcohol, drugs, food, or sex, your mind is controlling you. You are not controlling your mind. You have given up the faculty of choice. The seductive voices of society incessantly whisper misguided ideas through your mind. Buy this object, take that substance, or eat this food, and you will attain happiness, power, and freedom. And you can get sucked in. You can believe them, but they are simply the internalized offerings of the deluded who are intent on spreading the disease of more. Don't be an effect of the conditioned masses. Be the cause of your chosen destiny. Cultivate your mind. It is a domain where you reign supreme. Imagination, the creative realm. When we penetrate the chaos and confusion of conditioned consciousness, we reach the creative domain. This is the dominion of your imagination, that faculty of your being which shapes the potential energy of pure consciousness into life experience. Your imagination is fed from two sources: conditioned consciousness and pure consciousness. Although conditioned consciousness is often chaotic and confusing, it is also the gateway through which creative ideas from the external world enter our internal domain, some of which are extremely valuable. Akin to gold prospectors, we should sieve our conditioned consciousness and separate the gold from the silt. When we discover a golden idea, as with the seed, we should plant it in the field of our imagination and allow our awareness to cultivate it. To do this, we need to turn our senses inwardly and see, hear, feel, taste, and smell the idea as though it was already manifest. Remember, the brain doesn't differentiate between imagination and actuality. If you imagine squeezing lemon juice on your tongue, you will salivate, even though there is no lemon. The brain will wire itself in accordance with what you are imagining. The physical and the formless domains of mind and matter will unite to support your idea. Subsequently, you will emanate a vibration that will act as a request to the amorphous sea of intelligence responsible for all creation, which will respond by birthing your idea into reality. Pure consciousness. The other source of input for the imagination is the final level of the mind, pure consciousness. If we quieten our mind to such an extent that we penetrate the conditioned and the creative layers, we enter the realm of pure consciousness. This is the blissful domain of our indwelling divinity. Here we are being, not doing. Here we are pure presence. When the chaos of life gets unbearable, become silent, and bathe in this blissful flow of divine consciousness, absorb the infinite peace and tranquility of this domain, and allow it to rejuvenate, cleanse, and purify every atom of your being. Ideas birthed from this level manifest as intuition or hunches. They set you alight inside because they are divine impulses emanating from the soul of the universe. When your mind is chaotic, you block the universal flow of inspirational ideas. So, make time to empty your mind and become a conduit for inspiration. Conclusion. As I write these words, I'm sitting on a veranda overlooking the turquoise ocean on the sun-drenched island of Lanzarote. To think my home was once a rat-infested railway embankment. What changed? What really changed? The simple answer is my mind. I realized that if I wanted to attain my true potential, then I had to reclaim the wonderful formless kingdom of my mind. The mind is versatile. It can be used to create or destroy. I can be the ruler or the ruled. When I am the ruler, my mind doth serve for all. Thank you, Sir Edward, for reminding me of the wonderful gift of a free and versatile mind. The main lessons I take from this poem are as follows. We all have one corner of freedom, our mind. Perhaps we do not always exercise control over external events, but we reign supreme over the inner kingdom of our mind. When the ocean of life becomes turbulent, detach from the external world, retreat inwardly, and bathe in the calm waters of pure consciousness. A silent mind is complete and whole. Therefore, it never lusts or craves. If you want to attain equanimity, then practice silence. Our mind is a vast expanse into which an infinite number of seeds of possibility are sown. Sieve it frequently and separate the silt from the gold. Whatever we crave or lust after comes to own us. Don't become enslaved. Become enlightened. Allow life to unfold from the guidance of your indwelling divinity. Intuition and hunches are the silent language of the gods. A psalm of life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken to the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act, that each tomorrow find us further than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac life, be not dumb, driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present. Heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us. We make our lives sublime. And departing, we'll leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and learn to wait. American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, 1807 to 1882. This psalm begins by urging us not to become victims of conditioning. The material world is a mass illusion presented by our senses. What truly lies beyond us is an amorphous sea of infinite intelligence. We must stop viewing the world as an inert and benign object over which we have very little power, and know it is as a malleable, living organism that responds to our intentions. When Henry speaks of life, he is referring to our indwelling divinity, the creative intelligence that breathes life into our cloak of matter. Our body is material and transient. It came from dust, and to dust it will return. But this does not apply to our soul. You are much more than your body. You are an inexorable bundle of energy on an eternal journey. Death is simply a transitory stage in which the soul migrates and begins another adventure. The goal of life is not happiness or sadness. It is to better ourselves. The river of life bounces off the banks of both joy and sorrow, and it is unnatural to cling to either of them. Rather, we should embrace our challenges and use them as fuel to propel us forward. Good, bad, happy, and sad all have a lesson to relay. Experience them in their fullness and extract the teachings each has to offer. And always remember that our goal is not to be better than others. It is to be better than we were yesterday. This poem urges us to be brave, step out of the confines of conformity, and let the world know who we truly are. Refrain from being cloned and express our uniqueness. Each of us is a genius with our unique gift to bestow on the world, one that will help to evolve the collective consciousness of our planet. Henry reminds us that yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, so live your life supremely concentrated in the present. There, you will find eternal peace. Most problems arise from regressing to the past or projecting into the future. Allow life to unfold from the wisdom of your indwelling divinity, and stay firmly planted in the eternal continuum of the now. Let each and every one of us be a pathfinder and pave the way for those who follow. By improving ourselves, we leave footprints on the sands of time that can be used as a map for those behind who have lost their way. Break the bonds of uniformity and conformity and stamp our impression on the world. Become a hero in the strife. Currently, in the world's broad field of battle, alcoholism is raging. At the time of writing, it is estimated that alcohol abuse in England and Wales kills 40,000 people and costs the economy billions of pounds every year. This is your chance to shine. Opt out of the herd of dumb, driven cattle and become a shepherd. When you leave this life, let your resting place be not in a grave, but in the hearts of all you have touched. This poem has been such an inspiration to me. Thank you, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Thank you for reminding me that life is a precious gift that should not be squandered. Thank you for reminding me that the material world is in a constant state of flux, but who I truly am is eternal. Thank you for reminding me that my thoughts and feelings mold pure consciousness into the events of my future. Thank you for reminding me that I have the faculty of choice. Thank you for breathing life into me.